All right, y'all. So far we've talked about models and how models are representations of things that are in the real world. They help us visualize things that are either too big or too slow to happen for us to see, or maybe they help us understand things that are too small for us to see. I'm going to show you a model. It's about the water cycle, but there's a little bit more to it because this is also a model of matter and energy. See, it's one thing to just have a model to show something, but it also has to have a purpose. And the purpose of this model is for us to understand how matter and energy cycle through the spheres. Now, that's something else that we've also talked about. The geosphere, which is all the land, the hydrosphere, which is all the water, the biosphere, which is all the life, and the atmosphere, which is all the air. And we've talked about how these things are interconnected, how they work together as a complete system. And in the model we're going to take a look at for this activity, it's going to show all four spheres. And that's one of the things you're going to have to do is identify which part of the model goes with which sphere. And then we're going to see how the spheres interact with one another when using that model. So here's the model. There's a box. There's a little lid on top of the box. And there's also water in the base of the box. And then I have a bag of sand sitting right here, and on top of the bag of sand, I have a rhinoceros. And I'm just going to put the lid on top of the box, and I'm going to turn on the light. And that light, that radiant heat, is directed right at the water. It's pointing right at the water over here in this part of the box. And there's one more thing I'm going to add. I simply have a Ziploc bag filled with ice, and I'm going to leave that right here on top, right where the rhinoceros is. I think it's a rhinoceros. Think so. Anyways, so maybe it's not. I think it's a dinosaur. But anyways, we're going to let this run for about 5 minutes. And then we're going to come back and we're going to see where the water cycle is taking place. Again, we're modeling processes. And the processes that we should be looking for in this model are: where is there evaporation? Where is there condensation? Is there absorbing heat? Is there releasing heat? Is there any melting or freezing? These are all the processes that we talked about with phase changes, which are certainly seen throughout the water cycle. So I'm going to let this go for about 5 minutes, and then we're going to come back and see what happened. All right, so it's been about 5 minutes, and let's go ahead and turn off the light and see what happened. First of all, everything looks pretty much the same. The box is still the box. The plastic top is still the plastic top. The bag of ice is still, well, it's mostly ice. There's a lot of water in here now. Now the water looks the same, and the sand, well, there's something else going on here. There's this foggy top here. And now when I take a look at it, I'm just gonna run my finger across, and we'll notice that foggy top, well, it actually, to me, it feels dry. There's no, I don't feel any moisture on the top. But when I remove the plastic top, we'll see that the dinosaur is still there, and we'll see that the bag of sand is still there. But I'm just gonna go ahead and flip this over and take a look here. I can run my fingers across, and that's where the water is. So something happened there. There was a phase change, there was some energy transfer, and something happened there. This model is showing us something. This model showed us that there was some sort of energy transfer to have some sort of phase change happen right here where the bag of ice is. But the questions are, why does it happen only where the bag of ice was? How come it didn't happen anywhere else in the model? Why is the ice important? And again, where did the water come from inside the bag? And where did this water come from? Did the water somehow magically go from this bag through this plastic top and only stick to the bottom underside of the top here? I don't think it's very likely, because all the water is on the underside right here. So the question is why? Now, there's another demo I can show you real quick. I'm just going to push this off to the side and move this out of the way here. And I'm going to use the ice that we have, and I'm going to use a little thermometer that I have, just a little handheld digital thermometer. I need a napkin to clean up a mess, and I'm going to reach inside the bag of ice here. And in that bag of ice, I'm just going to go ahead and pull out any random piece. So now I have one piece of ice. Zip this up, move it out of the way. All right, so I have a bag of ice, and I'm going to go ahead and take the temperature of my hand. So temperature of my hand is reading at 98.2. Good. I'm going to take this ice and I'm going to put it right there on my hand. Now, it's only been on my hand for a couple of seconds, and my hand is getting really cold. In fact, it's getting painfully cold. This is some cold ice, but I can tolerate it. And as it's sitting here, something else is happening. May be hard to see, so I'm going to tilt my hand and I'm going to show you. I'm going to hold the piece of ice and I'm just going to let it go, and there goes some water dripping off my hand. Where did that water come from? Well, the ice is melting. There's no question. But the question is why is the ice melting? Why is the ice sitting in my hand melting? But then here's another question. Now there's that water again. Now I'm going to dump the ice and I'm just going to dry my hand here. I'm going to take that thermometer again and I'm going to hit it in the same spot. And when I do, look at that, it says low. My hand is so cold that it's past the range that the thermometer can read. Because my hand is really cold here. It was painfully cold as I sat here and held that piece of ice. But the question is why? What sort of energy transfer is happening? What sort of phase change is happening? Why did the ice melt? Why did my hand get cold? This is something you can easily do at home. And think about the processes that are at work in this simple little model right here. Let's see if I can get a temperature on my hand yet. It's warmed up a little bit. What do we got? It still says low.